I think we should be okay. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the live stream. Let me just start this by saying this is bad. I mean, really bad. And whatever you think things are going to be like in the future of the United Kingdom, you have genuinely got no idea. Absolutely zero. I went down a rabbit hole today for you. I went down a rabbit hole for you guys, okay? So just let me put this in context, ladies and gentlemen, before I go on to how bad things actually are right now in the United Kingdom and how much we literally have no escape. Like I keep saying, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the United Kingdom right now, my advice to you is get out now if you can. So I need to put this into context. Earlier on the live stream this morning, we were talking and I was sharing a video with you guys, an Andrew Bridgen video, where he's talking about the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. All day, ladies and gentlemen, I've had my head in this Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, it's bad, like really, really, really bad. When I was reading it, I could not believe how bad it was. This is going to give the legal framework for migrant police. You know, I've always said on this, when we're doing these live streams, I've always said, hey, listen, do you know what? I don't know whether these migrants that are coming over. Look, guys, there's so much information right now, and I'm trying to get it to you. And I'm trying to articulate this in a legible fashion. I've had information absolute overload today, guys. I've been in this Contingencies Act 2004. Remember when the police chief said they needed a shake-up of the British police system, and I said this is going to lead to private security companies conducting security operations for the police? Remember how we're looking at more migrants being employed as security operators in the United Kingdom? Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, this is bad, really bad. And however bad you think things are now, we will look back at today and think, yeah, things weren't that bad. Trust me, guys, all right? I'm going to get into the weeds in a second. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, can you do me a real big favor? Like, comment, subscribe, hit those bell notifications wherever you're watching. We are triple streaming. I know that's sixel streaming, but we are triple streaming today, guys. As always, we're on YouTube, X, and TikTok. So I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on TikTok. And I think I'm like the Real Raven, like underscore. I know I'm actually Raven. I don't know. Real high underscore Raven 1 on X. But listen, guys, let's just get into this, because I'm seeing right now, and I'll communicate this to you with legislation and UK law. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this video is my own analysis. This is my own speculation. It's my own opinion for entertainment purposes only. Whatever you TikTok algorithms want me to say to stop the video getting banned. All right, but I am going to be referring to this thing called the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, and how I promise you that is going to lead to a migrant police force. Can you imagine, ladies and gentlemen, going out to get your shopping and somebody stood at the bottom of the street saying, no, mister, you go back home. You are not allowed to leave street. You know, or something in like a broken English accent. That's what's coming, guys. I promise you, the path that we are on in the United Kingdom right now is leading towards that, guys. It's absolutely bonkers, like bonkersly bonkers. I can't believe how wild it is. And when I was reading this, I couldn't believe how deep and dark this was going. And this was written, and this was written in 2004. So now I'm thinking, has there been an agenda since 2004 to impose these laws? Because then you look back at every global event and everything that's happening, and it does look like the crescendo is here right now. But ladies and gentlemen, what a wild time to be alive. Right, so let me just get straight onto this. I'm going to monologue for a little bit, or should I go to the questions? Right, I'm gonna go to some of the right, guys. I'm gonna go to TikTok, and then I'm gonna jump on the comments on YouTube, and then I will get into this Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Look, guys, please bear with me on this, all right? Because like, we all want those flashy headlines: war, Ukraine, nuclear bombs, Putin, We all want those big, easily understandable things. But guys, look, I've tried to simplify this as best I can. Honestly, the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, it's a massive document. I've been through pretty much all of it. And guys, it's bad, it's dark, civil defense, it's over, migrant army, migrant police coming and stopping you, conscription, everything that we've been talking about. It's all here in the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Guys, look, if you was on the live stream earlier, you know, if you guys were on the live stream earlier, we was watching a video with Andrew Bridgen, and he's saying, oh, yes, this will bring in the, you know, this will give Keir Starmer the ability to invoke the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. And I was like, right, okay, what is that? I Googled it. And for you guys who were on earlier on, it was a massive document. I said, right, I'm going to have to look into that later. And now I've looked into that, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm saying to you guys right now, if you take nothing from this video and you want to skip, you want to jump to another video, that's fine. Remember this, all right? Warning, the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is equal to migrant police. And if you want to understand how, why, where, what, when, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Right, guys, so many people joining on TikTok. Like, I can't even, like, I'm just going to get some of these names. Pete Hurst, Carly Fletcher, Wayne, Sue, Katiff, 736, Tracy Butcher from Essex, but I used to live in Rotherham. Tracy Butcher, Shaw Wang, something. Awesome Fire, Grace, One Love for the Mother's Pride. Leanne, we've got Grandma Bar, lots of people, guys. I'm just going to jump down now to the comments. Timsky's saying, evening to you, Timsky. Right, guys, listen, we are triple streaming, so if you can't get your comment through, if you can't comment on TikTok, and you want to put a comment out there and it's pressing, we are on YouTube, we are on X. I'm a Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I'm a Real Raven 1 on X. Mandy's saying hello. Timsky's saying what we know. Oh, God, Timsky, it's real bad. Sean McKay saying, evening, amazing people. Evening to you. Right, guys, it's real hot in here. I've got the heating, and I probably shouldn't. Andy B saying hello. Dino saying hello. Jules is saying good evening, everyone. So is D. Marie Gen X. Timsky is saying, so private military company UK. Pretty much, Timsky, pretty much we're going to have private military companies in the United Kingdom. But guess what? These private military companies, I believe, will be manned predominantly by migrants. Sean McKay on TikTok, he said, I've looked for the old comments from a live, but don't think they're accessible. No, they're not. The old comments are not accessible. They just vanish. Sean McKay said, when I said the migrants could be given power. Yeah, Sean McKay. So look, guys, if you're watching on TikTok, you can see the comment because I've just pinned it. If you're not watching on TikTok, if you're YouTube or X, Sean McKay, one of the commenters on TikTok, he's just saying he commented and he said that migrants could be given powers and uniformed. Guys, I promise you, the legislation is here. The legal framework to give migrants uniforms, not these though. This is just a fashionable grey jumper, and I rock it, guys. I know I rock this grey jumper. Everybody wants a grey jumper. This is the only jumper I don't have that's not purple. Sean McKay said we should have a purple uniform. Sean McKay is saying, he said, yeah, you did, and we've talked about this a few times. So Sean McKay, I'm going to have to repin this because it's going to go in a second. I'm going to unpin and then I'm going to repin it because I just waffled on about grey jumpers. Sean McKay on TikTok is saying he was looking for a comment when he said the migrants could be given powers and uniform. Yes, absolutely yes. Not only is it likely, I feel it's here. I feel the government have started to use this. I feel this is coming. Not only do I feel that this is coming, Andrew Bridgen feels this is coming. See how I slopey shouldered on that, guys? You know, dust those bad boys off. Tanya Timpson, sorry, let me pin this. Sorry, Tanya, I called you Tina. I do apologize. And I apologize to you and I apologize to your parents. Tanya Thompson is saying, I always thought they're building an army. Yeah. So look, guys, if you've been following this live stream, you know how the mic. Look, guys, let's just go. So much information, ladies and gentlemen. I need to get out to you right now. I'm sorry if I'm skipping back and forwards and back and forwards. Right. You know how on this live stream we always say the government could stop the migrants whenever they wanted. Boom, 6 hours, it's done, it's over, it's finished, they're not coming back, done, finished. Okay, so why haven't they? It seems like it's inevitable. It's inevitably a self-fulfilling prophecy of doom if they don't do that. But if you go down that route and you say, right, the government could stop the migrant crisis within 6 hours. 6 hours, the government could stop the migrant crisis. If you understand that they can do that, then the next logical question is, why don't they do that, right? That's the next logical question. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong. If you come to the conclusion that the government, which I'm telling you they can, you put the military on the border and you don't need any new laws, you don't need to leave the ECHR, you don't need to do anything. Guys, it all makes sense by the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye. I had an epiphany. I had an epiphany today, guys, like about an hour and a half ago after the gym. It was leg day today. I think I pulled my calf again, but it doesn't matter because it was leg day. That's how I roll. I'm the Raven. I had an epiphany. Everything's connected. I'm going to try and connect everything right now for you guys. I'm going to try and do that, guys. So as a little cursor, ladies and gentlemen, can you guys like, comment, and subscribe? Share my stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It's really important that you guys share my stuff because that is the only way that the algorithm knows that you guys are enjoying it. Right, okay, so on this live stream, we've always been saying, and I've always said, I don't let them go, okay, can we stop migration? Yes. Okay, it takes 6 hours. Why are we not doing that? Okay. The logic, the only reason, generic reason why we're not stopping migration is because the government don't want to. That seems fair, right? The government don't want to stop migration, okay? If you accept that the government don't want to stop it, right? The next question is, tell me what the next question is. The next question is, why don't they want to stop it? Right, now we're starting to go down a rabbit hole, okay? And I've always said, I've been looking at the war in Ukraine. I've been looking at the war that's happening in Eastern Europe. And I'm saying, right, okay, I don't know. I'm 50-50. I don't know whether the migrants that are coming over are going to be flushed out as a migrant conscript army. And again, or are they going to be used as some sort of police force? And again, it may be a hybrid solution. So half of them may go out to the military and half of them may stay as a police force. I don't know. But what I can guarantee you now with the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, Category 1 responders, Category 2 responders, guys, it all makes sense. It all makes sense right now. And I'm even going to touch on conscription. Once I've got through these comments, guys, Catherine is joined. Rob McIntosh has joined. Liz Sue is saying evening. Sean McClay is saying it's all clearly making sense now. All men of middle age, it was clear that it was a bigger agenda. It was, guys. It's a massive agenda. Look, guys, look, I've got over 60 comments on YouTube, on TikTok, guys. I'm just not going to be able to get through all the comments tonight, guys. I do apologize. I've got a lot to get through tonight, guys. I've started this live stream early. So let me just get onto this, guys, all right? So please stick with this, guys. I know it's not going to, guys, this is not going to give you the big Putin, nuclear bombs, Zelensky, Netanyahu, Gaza, peace process, hostages, nuclear, airstrikes. It's not going to give you that. But what this is going to give you is the legal framework that you, your children, are going to be enslaved. And if you don't want to listen to that, then go watch Big Brother. If you don't want to know about how you're going to get enslaved, go watch Big Brother or something. Right, guys, look, I'm just going to give you a brief synopsis right now of something that's really important for everybody to understand. Please, guys, thumbnail this video, mark it, like it, share it, do whatever you can. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Look, I need to get on with this, okay? So the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, which was passed under Tony Blair, is Tony Blair there. Tony Blair is it. Tony Blair's gone nowhere. Tony Blair's still in control, guys. He is. So the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, and guys, look, if you don't believe me, please go and Google this for yourself. I'm giving you guys this as my best case, as my interpretation, okay? Is a key piece of UK legislation that establishes a comprehensive framework for civil protection, emergency preparedness, and you guys don't have your 3 days food and water? Guys, come on, you really need that right now. And response across the United Kingdom. Now, this was enacted in November 2004, which replaces all the documentation. Now, guys, I'm just going to go with this, guys, because it isn't, guys, you really need to understand this. You really need to understand how this legislation is going to be used to give migrants the powers over you. Can you imagine going out to the supermarket and some, like, I don't know, somebody who doesn't speak English as their first language coming up to you and saying, you go home now, or show me your receipt, or whatever? And look, guys, let me be quite clear. I'm not being derogatory to anyone who speaks English as their second language. Like, I think it's a fantastic thing. How many languages do you speak? Literally, how many languages do you speak? So, you know, I speak English. Sometimes I've been told I can throw a sentence together in English. I speak English, Ukrainian, Russian, and 2 dialects of Arabic. None of them any good. None of them any good, I'll agree. But I can get about day to day in those countries speaking their native tongue. But how many languages can you guys really speak? So when people speak broken English in England, you know, you shouldn't take that as anything other than somebody knows 2 languages. And if you want to make fun out of people for speaking broken English, just ask yourself how many languages you know. I'm just leaving it out there, guys. Okay, so this Civil Contingencies Act 2000, guys, everybody needs to listen to this. Please share this video with your friends, guys. It's going to be really important. You know those people who are sitting on the fence? You know those people who are sitting on the fence? I don't know. I just pay my taxes and go to work, and then get drunk on the weekend and do what I'm told by the government. You know those people? I'm going to vote for Arch. Guys, it all makes sense right now. The ECHR, Human Rights, Conscription, Civil Contingencies Act, Migrant Police Force, global conflict on an industrial scale. It is all here. I've been down a rabbit hole today, guys, an unbelievable rabbit hole. If you guys were on the live stream earlier, you guys know I was on the live stream earlier, always flicking through this, and I said, right, I'm going to have to flick back onto this, and I did, and I'm here right now to communicate to you guys. So please share this stuff, guys, okay? So the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is broken down into 2 parts. Odin dva, eins, zwei, wahed, thnien. I just gave it there a few languages, guys. Part 1. This is, I'm going to go through part 1 and then I'm going to go through part 2, okay, guys? I'll go through part 1. I'll get some questions. I'll get some comments. And then I'll come on to part 2, okay? So part 1. This would be local arrangements for civil protection. Now, this imposes duties on specified organizations categorized. Guys, you need to understand this, okay? Categorized as Category 1 responders, all right? Just remember that, okay? Category 1 responders, right? These are police, fire, ambulance, you know, local authorities, NHS, rail services. They're all, there's more, but that's Category 1. Like they're like your main infrastructure, your Category 1 responders, all right? So your Category 1 responders and Category 2 responders. Guys, this is where you need to pay attention, okay? Category 2 responders are people in support, such as utility companies, private companies deemed necessary to assist Category 1 responders. Jesus Christ, by the beard of Zeus and Odin's eye. Do you not think that the police are going to say, oh, we're in times of emergency. We need private security companies. Oh, private security company over there. How many people are you employing? Oh, we're employing X. Oh, can you employ more people? Well, yeah, we've got a load of migrants who've just got their SIA licenses. We're going to employ them. Yeah, get those guys in. Guys, we've been talking about this. It's here right now. I'm giving you the legal framework whereby we are going to have a migrant police force in the United Kingdom. Guys, I can't think of anything more dystopian right now. So the category 2 responders would be anyone in support of category 1. Now, category 1 responders must assess. So category 1 responders, they're the ones in charge. So just for this example, all right, don't think of anything else. Just when you're trying to visualize it, try and think of the police and private security companies. So when for the purpose of this explanation, when I say category 1 responder, because this is what we're talking about, guys, the migrant police force, think of category 1 responder as police and category 2 responder as a private security company. And when you think of private security companies, think about the private security that are at hotels. Think about the private security that are at your supermarkets. Now, totally up to you what you think when I'm talking about that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this video is my own analysis, my own speculation, and my own opinion from the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Please go and check it out yourself. And if you think I'm lying, if you think I'm wrong, please call me out. Call me a liar. Tell me that this is not right. So category 1, right, must share information, promote business resilience. So category 1, the police, must share information with category 2, the private security companies, promote business resilience with category 2. So we are promoting the private security now. They are also required to warn and They're also required to warn and inform the public during a crisis. So now you've got the scenario where private security companies are driving around. Get back in your house. Get back in your house. Get out of the supermarket. Do not take 2 loaves of bread. That's where we're going, guys. That is where we are going. I promise you, okay? Category 2 responders must, geez, guys, I can't even believe I'm saying this. Right. Category 2 responders must cooperate and provide support to category 1 responders. Guys, this is UK legislation. Please go and check it out yourself on uklegislation.com, whatever it is. Go and check out Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Guys, it's crazy. So now you guys are putting the meat on the bones, right? So you've got category 1 responders, the police, and category 2 responders, which would be any private company that the police deem necessary to fulfill their obligations, private security companies, and they are obliged to work with the follow orders, basically, from the category 1 responders, which are the police. This act applies across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So there we are, guys. That is literally it. That is literally written on, what's the website? Hang on. You can go check this out yourselves. This is from legislation.gov.uk. Guys, look, I promise you, right? Go and check it out on legislation.gov.uk. It's there. It is written. It's written down. I've been on this all day, guys. Honestly, I am on the live stream a little bit early because I was like, yeah, I'm just going early. This is all written on what's the website again? Sorry. Legislation.gov.uk. You guys can go and check that out yourselves, if you want. I recommend you do. So now let's just put this together. Let's put this together, guys, okay? Look where we are in the United Kingdom. Look at the tropes we've been saying on this channel. Okay, heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale. Nostradamus was saying that Britain will be fighting an enemy within, an internal enemy and an external enemy. Looks like this is here right now, and everything seems to be coming to a crescendo right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have not even got to the best or worst part, whichever facet you guys are on. So where do I go with here, guys? Where do I go? Look, guys, I have got a lot of information right now to get to you guys. I promise you, okay? This is a warning. I'm giving you the warning right now about a migrant police force in the United Kingdom. Can you imagine how many guys look? God, I've been talking about this. I didn't know I was talking about. I didn't know this legislation. Like when I've given you all these other videos, I didn't know this legislation. What you know, when I've given you the scenario of when I left the supermarket and there was you know, when I give you guys a scenario when I left the supermarket, I'm walking out the supermarket and there's two blonde girls and they've got a trolley full of booze, and the security guard, who doesn't speak English, is his first language, and I'm fine with that. I promise you guys, I am absolutely fine. Do you know what, guys? I'm more than fine with that. I think it's brilliant that people know more than one language. I do. I think it's brilliant. And, you know, if you're the type of person who's going to make fun of someone for speaking broken English, just ask yourselves, how many languages can you speak? That's all I'm going to say, right? Because it really winds me up when people, like, make fun out of people for speaking broken English. Like, how many languages do you speak? I've had close friends who do it, you know, and like they've made fun out of people for not speaking. Sorry, guys, I'm going off. Okay, so the scenario I give you guys is, it's not even a scenario. This is the anecdote. I know this was true because I saw it. So I left the supermarket a couple of months ago. I left the supermarket. There's two blonde girls. It was summer, so it might have been like early on this summer. I left the supermarket and there's two blonde girls. Like, they weren't scantily clad, but one had like a belly top on and the other one had a dress on. They were blonde, you know, and they had like a trolley full of booze, and they're waiting, you know, they're waiting with their trolley on the road. And I think they're waiting for, like, I don't know, their boyfriends to pick them up, or I don't know, one of their homies. And the security guard from the store comes out and he's asking them for the receipt. Now, these two girls had a lot of attitude and they were like telling him, no, we're not showing you a receipt, go away. But what I'm getting at here is, when you're in the supermarket literally says, do you want to take the receipt? Or does it not? Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments, guys. Does the supermarket say, do you want your receipt? And everybody clicks no. You click no, don't you? You don't want to hold the receipt within your hand. So these girls had left the store, and now the guy's followed them outside and he's asking for the receipt. So first of all, he could ask them for the receipt in the store, and they could say, I haven't got it. I literally just paid and I said no. So straight away, even if that guy was asking for the receipt in the store, it's like a bullshit request because they've declined it. They've already gone. Now he's outside the store, you know, basically on the road, on the public road, on the what's it, sidewalk? That's not sidewalk. Footpath, whatever, curbway. I don't know what they call it, like the walkway. I was sidewalking through in America. I too much time hanging out with Americans. So they're there now, waiting for a car to pick them up. I'm assuming. I walk past, and this guy's come out the store and he's asking for the receipt. Now these girls, you know, they were giving him attitude. They say, no, I'm not showing you. I said no, and they told him where to go. But what I'm getting at here is, guys, what is the difference, like, legally, with him coming out and asking them for the receipt there outside the store? You know, the trolleys were still within distance because I think they were going to put the booze in the car and then put the trolleys back, get their pound back and go. But what's the difference in him following them to the car park? What's the difference? And then what's the difference with him following them from the car park, following them home? What if that had been, you know, what's the difference in him asking them, just because they had a trolley of booze, asking a woman with 2 kids, show me your receipts? What's the difference in him following a woman with 2 kids back to her car? Show me your receipts. What's the difference with him following a woman with 2 kids back to her house? Show me your receipts. Now put in this as a Brucey bonus that these people, private security companies, as per the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, have the right to respond to, as their Category 2 responders, have the right to respond as Category 1 responders and have more rights, legislations and legalities. You see where this goes right now, guys. You see where this goes. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I've not even got onto part 2 yet. And part 2 is a lot worse. Part 2 is a lot worse, guys, okay? Honestly, I can't even believe what I'm saying right now, guys. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Google it on YouTube is saying, not on YouTube, Google it on TikTok is saying, Sean, private security guards have limited power. Yes, they have limited power now, and we should all know that. But if the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is invoked, then they would be come under direct authority of Category 1 responders, and then they would have enhanced powers. This is what I'm talking about. And then Google is saying they cannot act like police. No, I agree, they cannot act like police now, but they do. What I'm saying is they will, once this Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is invoked, because that would, let me just read this again, guys, okay? You would have Category 1 responders, which would be the police. They're a Category 1 responder. And then you have Category 2 responders, which would be any supporting organization, such as private organizations deemed necessary in support of Category 1 responders. So right now, guys, let's just riddle me this, riddle me that, right? If you're the police and you need more men, where are you going to get them from? You're going to go, like, you're going to go to the university. You're going to go to the art museum. Are you going to go to the aviation museum? You're going to go to an aviation school, or are you going to go to a security company, a private security company that already has the personnel in place, already has the vehicles in place, already has the policies in place, already have security industry authority regulated staff? Tell me, guys, where would you go? Where would you go if you needed more? If you needed more people, you know, for the you know, if you as the police right now, if you were the police right now, if you right, guys, here's a question for you guys, right? Guys, look, I'm conscious of the time, and I've still got a lot to get through. Right, if you were the police right now and you needed more people, where would you go to get them? If somebody said to you, right, I don't know who, Timsky was the last. In fact, no, Sean McKay. So Sean McKay, so Sean McKay, here's the question for you, mate, and everybody answer this question, right? If Sean McKay, if you was in charge of the police force right now, all the police, right? And somebody said to you, right, Sean McKay, national emergency, we've had to invoke the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. We need more security. Where are you going to go to get that more security? Where are you going to go? Straight away. Come on, where are you going to go? You're going to go to the doctors? You're going to go to the NHS? You're going to go to the universities and see the art classes? You're going to go to the private security companies. And who are the private securities companies employing, guys? It's all here. It's all absolutely here, guys. The Civil Contingencies Act 2004. I promise you, if you ever hear a politician talk about this, it's not, guys, The reason I'm giving this video, and I need to keep saying this, the reason I'm doing this video now is I watched the video this we together #team. We watched the video this morning on the live stream. It was an Andrew Bridgen video, and he was talking about what's happening to the United Kingdom. People don't have much time to wake up. And he was saying that Keir Starmer will invoke the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. And while I was on the live stream, you guys that were on the live stream, please click in the comments that you heard it. I was like, right, let me Google this real quick. And I Googled it, and it was a massive subject, massive subject. I've had my nose in this all day, guys. Absolutely had my nose in this all day, guys, okay? Right, guys, listen, that was part one. That's only part one. I'm going to go on to part two now, and then I will jump over. Oh, hang on a minute. Right, right, okay. Give me a second, guys. Don't worry, that guy's gone in the chat. Right, guys, I'm going to come onto the chat on YouTube in a minute, okay? But that guy's gone. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is part one. I'm going to go on to part two now, and this gets worse. So if you think what I've just said was bad, Dilly Swizzle, Odin's Eye, and the Beard of Zeus, this gets worse, right? So that was all part one, what I've talked about there. I'm going to talk about part two, which is ridiculously worse, all right? This is where we come on to conscription. Okay, so this is all online, guys. This is all online. You guys can go check this out yourself. If you go to legislate.uk.gov.uk or something and look for the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, it's all there, guys. It's all there, all right? It's all there. Hang on a minute. So Google it is saying the security companies can only do citizens arrest if it abides by, they have to wait until category 1 teams come. Okay, right. So, okay. Anyone can do a citizen's arrest. I can do a citizen's arrest. You can do a citizen's arrest. Under this legislation, this would, okay, I've said this quite a few times in the live streams, you know, when I've been talking about different things, when I've been talking about migrants having assisting the police. This will be pitched. This will be pitched as it's not a citizen's arrest. This will be pitched as detention. This will be pitched as security companies do not have the right to arrest you. They have the right to detain you until a police officer comes, because police officers are the only ones who can arrest you. That's how it's going to be pitched, guys. But you know what? If you're held down by men, restrained, kind of feels a little bit like an arrest, right? Sorry, let me just get on to part two, guys, real quick. Right, hang on a minute. Right, hang on, guys. Google it here has got a load of hang on a minute. Google here has got a lot of information. I'm just going to read this in real time, guys. I'm going to read through this real quick because I have got a lot to get onto and I'm conscious of the time. So Google on TikTok is saying the Civil Contingencies Act sets up a multi-agency command, control and cooperation structure. A private security company and its staff are completely outside of this official hierarchy. The security guard's legal powers are limited to those of a private citizen, with some minor additions relating to trespass and private property. They do not possess the statutory powers of arrest, search, or control over public spaces that the police officers do. I agree. They can only perform citizens' arrests under very specific circumstances and for a short, reasonable time until the police arrive. Yeah, so that's literally what I've just been saying. You know, And these laws and legislations are wildly open to interpretation. Wildly open to interpretation. All this is under the invocation of that article. Yeah. So, you know, under the article, or, you know, under the Civil Contingencies Act, this can happen. Sorry, guys. Listen, guys, I need to rush through this because this bit is a lot more draconian than the last bit, okay? We are triple streaming, guys. We're on YouTube, TikTok, and X. Please show your support on all three platforms. We'll be jumping over to YouTube in a little bit once I've got through this. Right, so part 2. So that was for Category 1 and Category 2 responders. This is emergency powers, okay? This is the emergency powers that the government would have under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, okay? So this provides a mechanism for the government to issue temporary emergency regulations. Guys, this is wild, right? In response to severe threats to human welfare, the environment, security. That's the one we need to focus on there, security, because that's the one that's going to be invoked. Or the economy. I don't know why they've thrown that one in there. These powers allow broad provisions, such as allocation or resource allocation. Do you know what that means, guys? Rationing. Rationing. That's what it means. They talk about it in the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. They talk about resource allocation. They mean rationing. Rationing food, rationing water, rationing fuel. Ladies and gentlemen, I keep telling you guys, if you've got a diesel car, get rid of it. That diesel's going to be gone to the military. Make sure you've got 3 days food, 3 days water, 3 days food, fuel in your house. It's coming, guys. It's all here in the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. It's all there, guys. It's all there. All this information is in there. Yeah, sorry, guys. I'll go through that again. So emergency regulations with severe threats. These powers are broad, and that is resource allocation, which is obviously rationing, or restriction of movements, or movement restrictions. Hashtag lockdowns, ladies and gentlemen. So you know now when people are talking about 15-minute cities, you know how many times have I said on these live streams? How many times have I said, guys, that how many times have I said on these live streams that it's suspicious that every housing estate that I see that's being built has one entry and exit route, and all the people that live there. So imagine this, guys. Imagine this now. So this is from the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, where they can restrict movements. Imagine this now. You've just moved into a new housing estate. Just think about it contextually, where these new housing estates are. You've just moved on to this new housing estate, and all of a sudden the government say you're not allowed to leave, and they put some security guard on the entry point. Done. One security guard with police powers, special police legislation, whatever. That security guard, the police come and they say, right, this security guard is working directly for the police, you know. He controls that housing estate. What is there? 3, 4, 5, 1,000 people on there? One person controls 1,000 people. You see how the maths adds up? However, I will say this, guys, it does include safeguards, and this is what is so fantastic. This is what made me have the epiphany right now, guys. So it does have safeguards. It does. It has safeguards. Guys, please bear with me. Please bear with me on this one, guys, okay? So the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 does have safeguards. Regulations cannot amend the Human Rights Act 1998 or cannot, or the Act cannot give itself more powers. So what that means, basically, you know the ECHR? Guys, can you see the genius, the evil genius that's at work right now? You know, everybody's saying, oh, we need to leave the ECHR. We need to leave the ECHR. Oh, we need to leave the ECHR because of migrants. If we leave the ECHR, then all bets are off on emergency powers under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, because that means we're no longer part of the ECHR, so all our human rights are gone. It's unbelievable, guys. Absolutely unbelievable. So let me come down to conscription. So there is a little bit in here on conscription. So the Civil Contingencies Act explicit, guys, this is where, guys, just go with me. I know I'm giving a lot of granular information out here, and I'm trying to do it real quick. This should probably be 2 or 3 hours, what I'm trying to get through right now to get the intricacies of this. So the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 explicitly bars any emergency regulations that the government may impose. It explicitly says no to conscription. It says no to conscription, no to compulsory military service. This restriction prevents the government from using a crisis to force citizens into military or paramilitary roles. You know, preserving individual autonomy and avoiding, avoiding having to force people into a war. Why does this matter? Conscription historically has been a contentious issue, often associated with wartime sacrifices, public resistance. By prohibiting it under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, this ensures that the emergency responses rely on voluntary cooperation or existing professional services, i.e. private security companies, rather than coerced labor. Now, this aligns with modern UK policy, as conscription has not really been used since I think 1960, or like 1960s at least, conscription stopped. So in a crisis, whatever crisis you guys are thinking, whether it's World War III, a marauding terrorist attack, natural disaster, whatever, the government might mobilize resources or personnel, but cannot mandate citizens to join the military effort. During a hypothetical invasion war, a hypothetical war with Russia, or severe security crisis. So what that means is, in the first instance, we have to use private security companies, because we can't conscript people. That's under this legislation. We can't conscript people. But and again, guys, listen, this is my understanding of it. If we leave the ECHR, which we're all, which Nigel Farage is pushing for, we need to leave the ECHR. If we leave the ECHR, then that little bit of this text becomes irrelevant, because we're not part of the ECHR, so we can force people into conscription. That's my understanding of it, ladies and gentlemen, and I have just absolutely flown through that. There was so much information I needed to get out there, guys, and I'm sorry if that is skew with. I hope I've managed to articulate that in a way that at least some people can understand. So I'm going to come on to the comments now, guys. I'm going to come on to the questions. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, bell notification. Guys, look, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, because the TikTok will vanish. If you're watching on YouTube, please share this video with a friend. It's going to be this is going to be a really important video to look back at in future years. When the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is invoked. In fact, I should probably change the heading to this video. When the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 is invoked, this video is going to be key for people to look back on. Okay. Right. Okay. So Googly, he's saying, any foreign national working in a security role is also strictly vetted. Yes, they are vetted, but here's the thing. Here's the thing with that vetting, guys. the vetting for the Security Industry Authority, the vetting for, look guys, I've done this myself, I've done this lots of times. The vetting for the Security Industry Authority only relies on UK sources, right? So if you've been done drink driving in the UK, that will show up on your record. If you've been in a drunken brawl in the United Kingdom, that will show up on your record. You know, if you've been done drink driving in South Sudan, ain't going to show up on your record. You know, if you've been done for a drunken brawl in South Sudan, ain't going to show up on your record. You know, if you've done a crime in a foreign country and not been arrested to it and fled to the United Kingdom, guess what? Ain't going to show up on your record either. So, you know, this vetting from the Security Industry Authority, it doesn't, you know, it's not worth the paper it's written on. Google here is saying when the private security company G4S admitted it could not supply the agreed number of security guards, the military was called in. Right, okay. You guys want to go down a rabbit hole? Do you guys want to go down a rabbit hole on this? Right, yeah, so hang on. Right, hang on. Sorry, guys. I've got 3 messages from Google. Right, I'm going to read these messages. I'll come on to this, and then I think we're going to jump to. We're going to jump to YouTube after that, guys. So, it's a series of 3 messages. What I'm going to do for TikTok, I will read all these 3 messages, and then I'll just pin the last one because there are 3, and it won't make sense if I just. It wouldn't make sense if I pinned them all. So Google is saying, Sean, do you know the military can be used when it's invoked, right? Yes, I do, but I would speculate when this is invoked. So if we invoke this in a time of war, the military will be at the war. You know, you see where I'm going, guys? You know, the military will be at the war. A key example of military deployment occurred during the failure of a private security company in 2012 London Olympics, when the private security company G4S admitted it could not supply the agreed number of security guards the military was called in. Right, okay, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to tell you is speculation for entertainment purposes only, and under no circumstances do I drive fast, and under no circumstances do I excessively drink or do anything that would endanger my life. At that time, G4S was bidding for security contracts for the British Embassy in Baghdad, for the Baghdad International Airport in Iraq. They were also bidding for the embassy in Kabul in Afghanistan. These are big multi-million pound contracts. Now, I've heard, for entertainment purposes only, I've heard through good authority that G4S was called in, and G4S was a fall guy to cover for failures of the government, because the government didn't want to look like it had failed on the security. That's why they called the military in. And in response, G4S won the contract for the British Embassy in Baghdad. They won the contract. They basically won the contracts, the security contracts, and they secured those overseas contracts. Go and check that out yourselves, guys. Go. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe it's just for entertainment purposes only. Check out who had the security contracts for Baghdad British Embassy Baghdad, British Embassy Kabul. Go and check that out, guys. Who held the embassy security contracts in 2013, which were just renewed, and 2012, which were just renewed? So go check that out, and then ask yourselves this question, right? Ask yourselves this question: why would the government award a multi-million pound security contract to somebody that had just failed? I don't know, guys. I don't know. Why would that do that? You know, so I do think these things are interlinked, and I think The military was called, and that's what they're saying. But look, guys, you know, I don't think there will be any military on the streets to do this. Right, guys. Right, guys. If you've got any more comments now, can you please throw them over to YouTube, because I'm going to close this down now. I know there's a lot of comments jumping up on. I know there's a lot of comments jumping up there on YouTube, but on TikTok. But I'm going to jump over there to YouTube. Oh, David W. is saying I've got proof. So David W. saying I've got proof. Hang on a minute. So look, guys, listen, guys. I give you this as real-time analysis. I don't know the questions that I'm going to get. I don't know what people are going to throw at me. That's why I do this live. I do this live so you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys know that I can give you real-time analysis on the spot without going online, checking something, doing a video. Oh, yeah, that happened. You know, I give you this real-time from my head because I know what I'm talking about, okay? Now, just incidentally, and again, I never know what's going to come up. So there's a comment over on YouTube saying G4Yes used to be an employment agency putting people in mis-selling jobs, i.e. work programs. I've got proof. So what he's saying basically there over on YouTube is that he's got proof about the shady dealings behind the scenes with G4S. Remember, G4S bought out another company called, what was the company they bought out? Was it Kroll? I think it was Kroll. Yeah, I think G4S bought out. So there was a security company, an overseas security company set up by UK Special Forces. That was called Kroll. I think it was called Kroll. Was it Kroll? And yeah, it was Kroll. Kroll got bought out by G4S. They continued as Kroll for a little while, and then they had to continue as I think I might be wrong on that, guys. I'm pretty sure it was Kroll. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to close this live stream down now. I am going to close. I'll get this last comment again from Google because he's putting a lot of information on here. So he's putting, historically, the UK has used emergency wartime acts to grant the government necessary powers while ensuring civil authorities and the armed forces, rather than private entities, retain ultimate command over national security and domestic order, with private security remaining in a subordinate role. Guys, listen, the world is changing. The world is changing. We didn't have to invoke a wartime act since 1939, I guess. Now we're in 2025, and we are working from the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. That's what we're going off, guys. This is my own speculation, analysis, and opinion for entertainment purposes. Of course, if you want to go check that out yourself, go and look at it on the government's own website, guys. It's called Legislative UK or something. Anyway, guys, listen, I'm going to close this down. I'm not going to close it. I'm going to turn you guys off on TikTok. I'm then going to jump over to YouTube. I'm going to go a little bit further into this. We're going to talk about what's been happening today in the news. But look, guys, I just needed to get that out there. I've been down a massive rabbit hole today with the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. It doesn't seem like it's a good thing to me. Sorry, let me take this off. To me, the Civil Contingencies Act 2004 looks like, on paper, this looks like the legal framework to bring in private security companies in support of the police, yes, in a subordinate role. But what does that even mean anymore, guys? What does a subordinate role mean if those private security companies are coming out to deal with issues? If those private security companies are coming out to deal with, look, guys, real quick before we go, I know I said I was going to close this down on TikTok, but I've said this quite a few times, and I was saying this before I read the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. I was saying, like, Can you imagine now where the police say, and remember how that guy in charge of the police, I can't remember what his name is, he was saying, oh, the police need shake up. We need to have mega forces. We need to reshape the police force. We need to have bigger forces and share resources. And what I said was, they're going to start to use private security companies. Guys, they are. This is happening. And what I said they would do is they would hail this as a great success whereby the police, they say, oh, if it's a non-critical issue, we send out a private security firm. We send out 2 people from a private security firm. That means that real police officers don't have to waste their time. And then the private security companies go out there. And if they need officers, they call for officers. And the example I gave of this was like a potential burglary or robbery or theft or whatever, an industrial. Is it a burglary if it's, I don't know, a theft, somebody breaking into an industrial firm or something, where it's not a house or anything. You know, private security companies go out there and then they get on the radio and they're like, oh yeah, we need real officers. And then that will evolve to, right, we're giving these private security companies now powers of detention. And I've done this in other videos, guys. This all makes sense now under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close this down now on YouTube, on TikTok. I will be over on YouTube. I'm staying on YouTube, guys. I'll be getting all the comments. I'll be getting everything else on YouTube. If you're not jumping over to, if you guys are not jumping over to YouTube, I will see you guys in the morning. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Civil Contingencies Act 2004. Okay. Go and check it out for yourself, guys. If you do nothing else, please go and check it out. It's a massive document. There's lots of little annexes and amendments. It's very difficult to get through, guys, but please go and check that out yourself. Anyway, guys, I'm going to close this down now. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm going to jump over. I'll see you guys in the morning. And we are done, ladies and gentlemen. We are done with the TikTokers, and we are just here with you fine people on the YouTubers. Right, let me jump down, guys. I do apologize because there have been tons of comments. Freddie is saying, neighbours of Manchester synagogue attackers say they reported concerns to the police. A lot of these concerns, guys, the police won't really respond to them. The scenario I give you guys is, imagine if you phone up and you're on a cul-de-sac and something's really bad happening at number 1, and you phone the police up and say, I've got concerns about something happening, and where the police are, oh, can you confirm there's a crime happening? No, I can't, but it looks really dodgy. And then they come round to house number 2. A lot of these, you've got to understand the police are struggling. But you know what? Well, let's just build on what we've just spoken about. Under the Civil Contingencies Act 2004, or under this new restructuring of the police, what the police could do there is, neighbours of Manchester synagogue attacker reported the concerns to the police. What they could do is potentially, send out a private security company and see if there's anything dodgy going on. And then if there's something dodgy, you see how all this fits together. Templar Matt is saying, I had a 3-2-1-0. £30 isn't bad, really. I don't know what that means. I might just get on for that price. Templar Matt, I love you, brother. I love your thumbnail. I don't know what that means, brother. I don't know what that means. From now, he's saying China has full-scale replicas of British cities and towns for military training. Do China know something we don't? Yeah, you know what? I mean, look, in defense, not in defense at all. In retrospect, Britain has full-scale mock-ups of Russian towns and Russian buildings, and that's what the Brits do training on. Donna's talking to someone else. Alex Corey is saying, real cops got there in 4 minutes, though. Yeah, that was a phenomenal response time, wasn't it? I thought it was 7, but I'll go with 4. It was a phenomenal response time for the from the armed police to get to that synagogue. And again, to me, it asks the question, like, did people know or suspect, like I do analysis, you know, that something was going to happen? And look, guys, what we know from this and what we can take from what happened in Manchester is, for me, something that I didn't know, which was Operation Plato, which is how the government deals with a marauding terrorist attack. Do you know what? Let me just Google this real quick. Let me see what it says. Operation Plato. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Yeah, guys, Jesus. I wish I'd have done this before. Guys, this is tomorrow's live stream. Right, so Operation Plato. Guys, I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm going to read through this with you guys in real time because I've just jumped up this. I'm going to read through this document and then we are going to come on to this together tomorrow. I'm just going on this right now, guys, because this is another important thing. Okay, guys? So you guys do this for yourselves. Click, do a Google search, Operation Plato, and this comes up. So I'll share this screen with you real quick. And again, you know, these are things we've been saying on this channel. When I talk about Operation Plato, I talk about a complicated terror attack, which is what Operation Plato is dealing with, and they're calling it a. Can I move it past scroll? Yeah. And they're calling this a marauding terrorist attack. Now, look, guys, I'm just looking at this. I'm just looking at this in real time. I'm just going down this myself. This is right. I'm not going to read that. Let's just have a look, guys. This is literally the first time I'm looking at this document. So let me look at this myself. Introduction. Right. Okay. Introduction. So this introduction is intended audience would be physical security managers, security control. Right. Okay. I think we're looking at the wrong thing here, guys. Let's just read this bit here, actually. Guys, look, I give you guys real-time stuff, all right? And I never know. Can I highlight that? No, I can't highlight on this PDF for some reason. No, I can't highlight on the PDF. I'll just read it. Marauding terrorist attacks, MTAs, are fast-moving, violent attacks where assailants move through a location aiming to find, kill, or injure as many people as possible. Most deaths occur within the first few minutes before police are able to respond. So, yeah, you know, this is what I've been talking about when I talk about, when I talk about a complicated terrorist attack. This is what I'm talking about, basically. I didn't know that this was an actual thing. I didn't know that this was actual part of government legislation. Look, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through that document and I will probably do tomorrow's live stream about that. I used to teach this stuff. I wouldn't have called that an MTA. I would have called that a complicated terror attack. Because if you're doing a single attack, a lone wolf, a lone gunman, a lone wolf, a lone bomber, it's just one person. If you're talking about a multiple attack, complicated attacks, you've got more people attacking different buildings, different locations. Looks like the government are calling this an MTA. That's the new thing we're all going to know about, guys. Pretty soon we're going to know about that because that is, I believe, going to happen. Freddie is saying Illinois governor vows to resist Trump administration power grab after suing over National Guard deployment in Chicago. So for those guys who don't know, Donald Trump is bringing the military in to take control of some of these what are deemed lawless cities. Now, think of it what you will. One of the things I like, when I've seen these videos online of like these gangsters, and you can imagine what Chicago, they don't look like Al Capone anymore. Chicago gangsters don't look like Al Capone anymore. But you've got these gangsters and they're saying like, yeah, when Trump come, we got some crazy baguettes. We gonna fuck him up. And you're like, right, okay, guys, right. you know, you crazy baguettes, like, you know, when you crazy baguettes were like smoking stuff on street corners, you know, the guys that are coming to close you down, they were doing press-ups, going for runs, standing in the cold and wind and rain. They were enduring while you were excessing, right? It's so like, I feel so embarrassed for these gangsters. They will get closed down so quickly. Weasel Von Diesel is saying, hey Sean, just going back to Thursday, Templemat was asking about what people who can't leave the UK. I'm wondering what your thoughts and solution are. Claire Price asking about industrial scale. Right, okay. So, sorry guys, I do apologize. You know, I had a lot of information to get through today, and I understand. I just like data drop that information on you. Okay, so if you can't get out of the United Kingdom, I would say you need to go into survival mode right now. Like, and the big one, you know, everybody's talking about, you know, we should get food and water and all these sorts of stuff. You know, I think like the main one, well, not the main one, maybe, like financial survival. Nobody talks about financial survival. You know, everybody wants to get the everybody wants to get the day stack, the go bag with 24 hours rations and a little flint steel and go into the woods and like whittle a shelter. Trust me, guys, it's not happening. Like, do you have finance? Can you survive financially? So you know what, guys? You know, I always say get food, water, and fuel. Food. Hang on. What word can we? Food, fluid, fuel, and finances. The 4 Fs. We're calling it Ravens 4 Fs, guys. Okay. Let me write that down. Where's my pen? I'm going to write that down, guys. Sorry, guys. Ravens 4 Fs. Fuel, food. Oh, pen's not working. Food, fluid. What did we say? Fuel and finances. We do some awesome stuff as a community, don't we? We do some awesome stuff. So hang on. So, you know, my advice would be make sure you have the 4 Fs: food, fluid, fuel, and finance. People pay lip service to finance, but you know what? You know, if the collapse comes and it's total all-out war, catastrophe, World War III, marauding terror attacks, civil war, do you think your bank are going to say, oh, you don't need to worry about the payments? Or do you think your bank are going to say, I want my money. I want my money or I will take your house. So just, you know, when you're thinking about these, you know, when you're thinking about when you're thinking about what may be ahead in the future or what may not be ahead in the future, just think, do you have 3 months food, 3 months fluid, 3 months fuel, and 3 months and 3 months finances? You know, like, could you support yourselves right now for 3 months? You know, and whatever metric it is you guys think you're using, like, could you support yourselves for 3 months? And I bet a lot of you could not. Oh, hang on a minute, guys. Oh, sorry, guys. Am I getting some? Hang on. Sharon Owen is saying, my daughter is scared of a money spider. There's no way she's sleeping in the woods. Don't worry, Sharon. Not many people are going to be bugging out into the woods. Like, you know, not many people. It's just not going to happen. Donna Hogan is saying, Ravens 4 Fs. Food, fuel, fluid, and finances. That's actually a good. Guys, listen. Look, guys. I used to teach stuff, right? I make stuff up all the time, but it is. It's a good thing to, you know. I think that's a good thing to, like. Honestly, I've never heard. Guys, on any of these prepping channels? Look, guys, I don't cast myself as a prepper, Like, I'm definitely the worst person you want. Like, honestly, if you guys saw me like operationally out in the field, I'm always the one in the worst absolute rag. You know, I see these people that are making little fires with sticks, and I'm looking and thinking, don't just use a lighter. They're 20 pence. You can get 6 for £1. What are you doing? You know, but you know, I think the 4Fs is a good thing, guys. You know, food, fuel, fluid, and finances. Like, what else do you need? I think that's a good thing, guys. And we made that up together. Donna Hogan is saying it's Raven's 4Fs. It's not mine, guys. It's ours. It's ours as a community. I just said it. You guys were thinking it. Oh, hang on a minute. British parts found in... Yeah, okay, right, yeah. So this is the... Okay. So it's very difficult here. Do you know what? I might actually have some here. Give me a second. hang on. So here... let me see what I can find. Let me see what I've got in this little bag. Let me see what I can find. What's this? That's a hard drive. That's definitely not in a drone. You don't put them in drones. What's this? High torque electric motor. I mean, that could be used in a drone. What's that? Small FPV camera. That could be used in a drone. Here we are. So these things here. So that thing there, Arduino Uno, that's an Arduino Uno. That's, you know, like the microprocessor, I guess. You know, these things are readily available. Like little chips like this, it's very difficult to restrict where these go to because they're not ITAR regulated. They're not, you know, they're not specifically made for the military, but they can be used in drones. So, you know, it has come out on the news that, what else have I got in here? You know, it has come out on the news that British parts found in drones, but I think it's a bit of a non-story because they're not really critical parts. They're just like chips and microprocessors that, you know, whether it's for a drone or a radio controlled car, it's the exact same part. So yes, it's come out on the mainstream media and people are saying, and Zelensky's getting a sad on about it. But you know what? I think it's a non-story because they're not critical parts. It's not targeting chips. It's not gimbals. It's certainly not munitions. They're just like those ancillary systems, you know. And this is the thing with drone UAVs, unmanned aerial systems, UAS. Sorry, the parts are so readily available. And they all use open source software to control those parts. So, you know, whether that's a remote control car, one of those remote control ships, whether it's a hobbyist airplane, they all use the same parts. They literally use the same parts as, I mean, that little Arduino Uno, you can attach that to, do you know what, I might even have one. I think I might even have a GPS module in there. That's another camera. I don't. Oh, there it is. There, I do have. No, it's a battery. Or you can use something like that, which is a Wi-Fi camera. So that camera would stream on Wi-Fi. So yeah, these are like non-critical parts found in Russian drones, and you know you can buy these from anywhere. My main question though is why are they buying them from the United Kingdom when you know they can get them in plentiful supply in China? They can get them a lot cheaper, and I don't know, guys. I don't know, but I do know the parts that have been found in these drones are non-critical components. Audrey is saying, I said no, but got told I was being judgmental as I looked at World today as we are, I got told I was being a bitch for thinking it's a bad idea to try for a... No, Audrey, try for a baby right now, Audrey. Try for a baby right now. Absolutely. Oh, Sean Clare, what do you mean by... Oh, guys, sorry, there's a lot of comments on here, guys. I do apologize. So what I mean by an industrial... What I mean when I say, you know, we're heading towards a global conflict on an industrial scale, what that means is... Well, let's look previously at the war in... So the war in Afghanistan, that wasn't on... The conflict in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq, they were not on an industrial scale. They were limited special forces operations, regardless what you think they were. Now, the reason for that was because there wasn't a front line in Afghanistan. There wasn't a front line. Well, there was a front line in Iraq for 21 days until the Iraqi army surrendered. But after 21 days in Iraq, there wasn't a front line. So what I mean is, because the war in Ukraine has a front line, a huge front line, and I mean huge, like if this war stops tomorrow, there's going to be the biggest demining operation the world has ever seen. The biggest. And I mean that, guys, you know, the biggest demining operation that the world has ever seen will be in Ukraine if the war stops tomorrow. Now, because that's the size of that front line, because the size of the Russian military, because of the capacity of the soldiers and the tactics being used, what's happening is drones, artillery, move. That's all that's going to matter. So if you can't produce those drones, if you can't produce that artillery, and you know what, guys, mortars, I'll go in mortars, 120mm mortars. If you can't produce those munitions fast enough in your factories industrially, you're going to lose, because that's the only thing keeping the bad guys at bay, and that's the only thing that's pushing the bad guys. So right now, the Russians have that monopoly. The Russians have the thumbs up with their industrial base. The Russians are under Putin. Whatever Putin says, it happens. Here in the West, under NATO, we have got lots of different countries, all with different agendas, different political dealings. So we don't have a clear direction here in the West. And I'm talking West without the United States now, because that's ultimately what it's going to be. So I hope I explained that war on industrial scale. Right, ladies and gentlemen, the questions are crackers. Alex Core is saying the Russians are spent. Maybe the Russians are spent, but the maths does not lie. Every day, the Russians are taking around 20. Do you know what? I'll do it right now for you guys. I'll get you guys the map up right now. So Alex Core is saying the Russians are spent. Let me just get this warm up guys. What is it called? I'm just getting the warm up now, guys. All right. Give me a second. I'll get this up. Right, let me zoom. Oh, right, I can't zoom in with this. Right, there we are. Right, okay. Right, okay. Right, so let me just go back a little bit. Right, it's frozen. Right, not that one. Give me a second. 6, 2. What's going on here? Right. Sorry, guys. I'm just getting this map up because I do want to share something with you. 6:10. Right. So I'm going to go back to 6:9. Right. So I'm going to share this map with you guys in a second. All right. There we are. Right, I'm going to share this map with you guys now. So Alex Core is saying the Russians are spent, they're done, they're finished, they're over. It's a done deal. NATO's won, the Ukrainians have won. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's go with that. Let's look at the reality on the ground. Let's look at the amount of ground that the Russians are taking, although the Russians are spent. So let's just look at that now, guys, okay? I'll share this with you real quick. So this is the Ukrainian war map that I use, and it is a good map. It's, in fact, let me take that off. Let me take that comment off, guys. Give me a sec. Yeah. So this is the Ukrainian war map I use. So if you look here, you can see the River Dnipro, which is slightly to the left of the screen. You've got Zaporizhia, and then you've got Dnipro itself. Now, if you look here where my cursor is, that's the date. So this is the ground on the date of basically a month ago. What I'm going to do now is, remember, the Russians are spent. The Russians are over. They can't continue. The Russians are finished. They're through. They're over. They're on the retreat. They're done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this cursor, and what I want you to do is just look. And I know it's not much, but this is all over the front line. Small advances day by day, that grinding chokehold. So just watch the Russian advances and note how the Ukrainians are not pushing back the other way, how it's just one-sided, taking more of Ukraine. So I'm just gonna go through this, guys, every click. And I know these are only small advances, but they are advances every day. So I've said that I feel, I'm, through my sources, the Russians are taking 20 square kilometers per day. So, the Russians may be spent, the Russians may be over, the Russians may be finished, but they're still taking ground. They're still moving forwards. They're still conducting airstrikes. They're still pushing the Ukrainians back. Doesn't sound like spent to me. Freddie is saying the only loss Russia has is their economic collapse coming soon. The Russian economy right now is propped up with this war. If this war ends, then the economy ends. So, Alex Core is saying Russia is spent again. So maybe Russia is spent. Maybe Russia is spent, guys. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe Russia is spent. Slim is saying the History Legends channel have been covering it from the start. Highly recommended. I've not seen that channel, guys. I've been covering this myself. James is saying Alex Core, Ukraine is taking a pasting at the moment. They are fighting with one arm tied behind their back. Yeah, they are. You know what they are? No navy, a tiny air force, and not allowed to attack Russia with long-range missiles. That's the main one. What James has said on the last thing there. The Ukrainians have not been allowed to strike Russia with the long-range missiles. And again, I didn't even know this was a thing till I was on this channel. I just thought, right, if you're gifting someone a weapon, like surely they can use it wherever they want. I don't know. Right, listen. Hang on. Oh, brilliant question, Freddie. Fantastic question. Listen, guys, this is going to be my last question. I've just looked at the time. So Freddie is saying, do you think Ukraine is secretly researching nukes? I would say that Ukraine already has the capacity to build nuclear weapons. Now, this is just me. You've got to look at the amount of nuclear power plants that are in Ukraine. They're already there. They're set up. They're ready. They're willing. They're working. It's not beyond a lifetime ago that that Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union, and they had a lot of nuclear weapons themselves. So I would say there are a lot of engineers still in Ukraine who have that knowledge how to build a nuclear weapon. In Dnipro, the Ukrainians have all the right machining and tooling equipment to build the casing for that nuclear weapon. Because look, guys, there's a lot of engineering that goes into a nuclear weapon. Again, I'm not an expert on it, but You have to build and machine a lot of stuff with very specific tolerances to make that weapon work. So I would say not only are the Ukrainians, do you know what, Google? Freddie, I would say yes, but I would say they already have that anyway. You know, and not only would they already have that, I would say they already have that in an abundant supply. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to close this down now. The crux of this live stream has been a warning. You know, I believe a migrant police. I believe a migrant police force is imminent. The way this is going to be dressed up is the Civil Contingencies Act 2005. That's going to be dressed up as Category 1, Category 2. Category 1 will be the police. Category 2 will be private security companies. Look who's working for private security companies. Look who they will enroll. Look who they will employ. I do believe that's coming, ladies and gentlemen. So please mark this video, like, share, comment, subscribe. Please share this video with a friend, guys, all right? And just say, look, I tried to get as much information at the beginning of this video. Just say to your friends, just say, look, can you watch this video for like the first 5 minutes? Because I do feel that this is coming, and this all came from that Andrew Bridgen video we watched this morning where he was talking about this, and I went down a massive rabbit hole, guys. If you guys want to go down that rabbit hole yourselves, go to legislation.gov.uk, put in there Civil Contingencies Act 2004. The document is huge. You know, there's amendments and schedules and different parts and referrals, repeals. The document's huge. It's really complicated. I've tried to condense that document as best I've tried to condense that document as best I could. But in short, I do feel that document will lead to the, Oh, hang on a minute. Who's calling me a wanker? Right, Alex Core. Right, Alex Core, I want you to apologize. I want you to apologize in the next 1 minute, Alex Core. Apologize to myself and everyone else, or you're going to get blocked. That's the reality. I don't want to block people, Alex. I don't want to block people. I don't like blocking people. But I always say on this channel, if you're rude, if you're aggressive, if you swear, I'm going to block you. So Alex Core, please apologize right now and make it meaningful. So Alex Core here has taken the Alex Core. Let me pin this comment actually. I asked Alex Core to apologize. He's clearly not apologizing. So now, rather than Alex Core being able to talk on this channel, express his opinion, maybe change other people's opinion, he's just gone. And there we go, guys. With one click of the finger, he's gone. Like the snow from yesteryear. Gone, banned from the channel, all comments banned. Why do you do it? Why do you do it? Why do people do that? Why do people want to swear and get rude? It fascinates me. It fascinates me why people want to do that, guys. You know, if you've got something wrong with what I'm saying, fine. I welcome that. I genuinely do. I welcome that. Don't be rude. Don't swear. Articulate yourself intelligently, and we'll talk about it. Don't swear. Tell me to fuck off. It's weird. It's weird. It's my show. Now he's gone. His little bit of joy and his little bit of fun and his little bit of manipulation is over. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, guys, listen. We're going. I'm going to be gone. John Young is saying, "Get in the ring, Sean. Get him in the ring." I don't listen. I struggle, guys. I'm not going to go with that, guys. The only person I want to get in the ring is that Bob Villain. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I am going to close this down now for the 5th time or something. Please try, if you can, guys, just share this video with a friend and just tell them, just say, look, this guy highlights what the legal framework is for a migrant police force in the United Kingdom. And again, it's never going to be called a migrant police force. They will always you know, mix it up with something. Oh, it's just private security, you know, and that's the way it's going. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me this evening, guys. It means a lot to me. You guys are fantastic. So I will be going now, guys. I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I will be closing it. I may be on a little bit early tomorrow, guys, because I've got to leave the house at 11. I've got to go and collect some wood. But anyway, guys, I'll be back on tomorrow at 10. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you later.